Hello, YouTube. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about the concept of chivalry, because feminism is a really huge topic, and I don't even really know where to start. So we're going to talk about chivalry today. And this is because on a group that I belong to on Facebook, someone made the comment regarding a girl asking a guy out to prom. We also have to remember our modern society. Hold on, let me look it up. It's at times, I think at times like these, you just have to kind of think of society via our Catholic faith and having chivalry. If he wants to go with you, you should be honest and he should be willing to ask you. Now, when we talk about prom, this is not a life decision. This is just your prom date. And I know it seems huge at the time, and it seemed huge to me when I was in high school because it's the big event. It is a big event when you're in high school, but when you look back, 20 years later, you're not going to wish that you'd gone with someone else. Or if you do, it's not going to, ruin your life forever. It's just prom. It's not that big of a deal. But what bothered me about that comment was that it was like, oh golly gee, the guy has to ask the girl. Why? Why does the guy have to ask the girl? Why can't the girl just ask the guy? I mean, I'm all for respecting one another as individuals. That's why I'm a feminist. I believe in gender equality. But chivalry doesn't promote gender equality at all. It tells us that men have to be extra kind to women because we're weaker. It's benevolent sexism is what it is. I mean, the best example I can come up with of benevolent sexism is ladies' night at a bar. When men will say, oh, we should go buy ladies a drink. And it's just like, well, women have our own money. And it's nice for guys to buy us drinks, it is, but then it also reinforces the idea that a woman can't treat a man. Why not? My money's just as good as he is. Maybe the woman is the dynamic partner in a relationship and the man is the more passive partner. What kind of annoys me when people don't think that that's valid, and it is, because we believe in mutual submission in the Catholic Church, and we believe in gender equality in the Catholic Church, and that's different from gender sameness, but because we're not the same, but by the same token, we are very much equal, and chivalry doesn't have a place in gender equality. I mean, if we look through history, look at all the butt-kicking women, and, like Joan of Arc, she's my hero, and she couldn't have done what she did if she let chivalry get in her way. Because if she had listened to people, if she had let chivalry win, she would never have gone, led the army of France. And, in the Hunger Games, if chivalry was still relevant, I mean, Katniss, no girls would ever fight in the Hunger Games because of chivalry, because girls apparently can't fight as well as boys, which is BS. I fence. Girls are just as good as guys. I don't know, it just really, chivalry just needs to die a painful death and not come back ever again. I mean, I can open my own door. Let me put that out there. But if you're going to open the door for me, do it because I have my arms full, or because I look like I've had a rough day, but do it because I'm a human being and you're nice. Don't do it because I'm a woman and I look weak. I'm not. Don't be afraid to ask a guy out if you like him. I mean, and there are other examples of chivalry, like standing when a woman sits back down and taking my hand to help me on uneven ground. Okay, I can walk. Even if I'm in heels, I'll ask for help if I need it. You don't need to automatically help me. And putting your jacket over a puddle? Why would you want to ruin your jacket? It's just a puddle. I can go around it, or I can go through it. It's not a big deal. I don't know. I don't know. You shouldn't be that obsessed with making sure, I never get a splinter in my life. It's okay. Women are durable. We bleed from our lady parts for a week every month and live. It's pretty bad. I mean, like, I just don't like the idea of it. Like, it just really bothers me. There's no need for that. No. I mean, chivalry just... We can't have chivalry in an equal society. That's really the point of this rant. Benevolent sexism. It's the same kind of stuff that, you know, when people say, oh, well, women and men are biologically different, therefore women shouldn't be firefighters or serve in the armed forces. Now, I know a lot of soldiers. The army and, like, the military in general is a huge career option where I come from, because people really love their country, I guess. I don't know. It wasn't my thing. I don't do well with authority, so I didn't join. I went to college. But, I mean, I very much support those who live that life. It's very difficult. But, and a lot of the guys that decided to serve were saying things like, you know, women just can't do this, you know, these things the way a man can. Are you kidding me? It's not biological difference. It's what you do with your body. I mean, I can bulk up too, you know. I mean, I am pretty strong. Like, this is all muscle. If I wanted to, I could probably do it. Now I kind of want to prove it to myself that I can, but I still don't do well with authority. Yeah. And, like, with women firefighters, again, it's the same thing. Women can be just as strong as men. You know, it might be a little difficult biologically, but we can work out too, you know. We can lift weights. We can get there if we really want to. And people need to stop shutting women down because of chivalry. And then, again, with benevolent sexism, it just needs to stop. Women are just as capable as men are. And the fact that in our country we have a wage gap really alarms me. Like, if you're a woman, you tend to make 77 cents for every dollar that a man makes. And if you're a woman of color as opposed to a white woman, that gap is even larger. I mean, women of color make 50 to 60 cents for every dollar that a man makes, regardless of race. I mean, guys, what are we going to do about this? What are we going to do? What are we going to do to change the world? Ladies, I'm looking at us, because apparently men have run the world for the past several thousand years, and in some ways have done a lot of good, but in some ways have done a lot of bad things too, especially to women. And we need to figure out a way to fight that. We need to gain our equality, and we have to be the ones to gain it. Men can't give it to us because then it's not true equality. You know, we have to be Joan of Arc. We have to be strong. We have to be bold. We have to go for what we want. You know, we have to be Hillary Clinton. We can't be Sarah Palin. You gotta know what you're talking about. You gotta be informed. You gotta be educated. You gotta be smart. You know, we have to be better than the boys are to be portrayed as equal. That is a society in which we live. So if you're propagating chivalry in this society, where are your priorities? You know, if you're not a feminist, where are your priorities? If you don't believe in equality between women and men, where are your priorities at? I mean, chivalry was a social code in the 1400s. That's when it pretty much started. But, I mean, men have always treated... Like, and it was a step forward at the time, because otherwise people were, like, you know, really hurting women all over the place. But people are still doing that to women, so it didn't really help. I don't know. It wasn't what... I don't think it did what people thought it would do. I mean, it put women on pedestals, and that's never good for equality. If you want to be equal, you can't be put on a pedestal, because then you're put higher, but it's because you're lesser, so it's not really good. I mean, who wants that? I mean, when I go into teaching, I don't, like, I want to get the job because I'm going to be a good teacher. I don't want to get the job because I'm a woman, and I don't want to not get the job because I'm a woman. Because either way, those are both sexist. You know, thinking that women are automatically good nurturers, that's not necessarily true. Society raises us that way. That's why people think that. I mean, we breed our own stereotypes. This is going back to my video on racism. We breed our own stereotypes. The reason we think Asian kids are all smart is because we put that expectation on them. The reason we see a lot of black people going into basketball is because we put that expectation on them. It's society tells these people you can only succeed if you do these things. And it's really rough on women because it tells us so many conflicting things, like about our sexuality and how to use it appropriately. And if you have sex, you're automatically a slut, and if you don't have sex, then you're a prude. And that's not okay. I mean, we have to love one another no matter what we've done, no matter where we've been, no matter who we did it with. Like, we're all human beings. And if you're not treating one another like a human being, you're treating one another unequally, and that's not okay. And it's okay to disagree with one another's choices. I mean, I don't agree with everything my friends do, they don't agree with everything I do, but you can't sit there and shame someone for their choices. You can't. That's not good. And it's just, our society is so sick. Like, it has illnesses from all these years of harmful things that it's internalized, like racism and like sexism. And they're so ingrained in our society, I don't know if we can ever fully eradicate them, but we have to start trying. Because if we don't, then women in the future are going to continue to suffer. Women in the future are going to continue to make less money than a man does, just because they're women. I mean, how ridiculous is that? You know, I mean, and we apparently have to get more education to be seen as equals. Like, we have to have a PhD to make what a man makes with a bachelor's degree. I shouldn't have to go to school for 6 years to make or 7 years or 8 years or however long it takes to get that degree, just to make the same amount of money as a man makes after going to college for like 4 years. And getting graduate degrees is a lot harder than undergrad degrees because my mother has 3 graduate degrees. I've seen her working all night on them after coming home from work because she's amazing. I mean, she has a really intense job. I'm not going to mention it because I don't want it dragged into politics because it's really dog-eat-dog world out there. But, you know, she goes to school, she goes to work, she goes to school and work, but she works all day. You know, she leaves home at 6 in the morning, sometimes earlier, sometimes 5, is at work until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Then she comes home, she makes dinner, she might go work out if she has time, but then, you know, she really doesn't a lot of the time because she has to come home, and she likes to cook, but so does my dad, so they trade off, which is really good. But I'm talking about an average day right now, and like my mother will come home and make dinner, and she'll set the table, she'll do the cleanup, she'll do all of that, because I'm not home to help because I'm at college. And I don't have any brothers, so that isn't an instance of sexism in my house. That's just I only have one sister, so it falls on us to do everything, from the girl chores to the boy chores. But like, she works a full day, and then she comes home and has to home make as well. Like, and my dad does a lot, which is great, but still, a lot of it falls on my mom. And when she was getting her graduate degree, she would come home, do all her, you know, working woman stuff from her job, come home, be the homemaking mom, and then do her classwork. That's a lot for one human being to handle. And, you know, thank goodness my dad never pitched in just because she was a woman, but he pitches in because she's his wife and he loves her as a human being. And he wants her to be able to do everything she can and wants to do. He wants to make her dreams come true, and she wants to make his dreams come true. That's why they work so well together. And, like, my dad's day is a little bit easier than my mom's. He works in a cubicle, whereas my mom's, like, on her feet all day. But he goes to work, and then he comes home, and he does his email. We all eat dinner as a family, and then my dad and I will go sit on the couch together, where my mom's still doing catch-up work. It's crazy. It's crazy, the difference. And the fact that my dad makes more money than my mom, when, you know, that's the case, it just really makes me wonder why. And I'm going into education, so I'm going to be a teacher, and I'm making the next generation of human beings happen when I do that. So why is it that a star athlete is paid millions of dollars just for amusing people, where I'm going to struggle by with whatever paycheck I get? I might have to, like, get a job on the side to supplement that income, if I even get a job at all, because our economy is terrible right now. And do you want to tell me that chivalry is a good thing? No. Chivalry is not a good thing. Chivalry is responsible for the wage gap. Because it says, let your man take care of you. I don't need a man to take care of me. I just need equal pay. I can go change the world myself. I can support myself. If I want a family, if I want to adopt kids, I can do that, but I want to be able to support them myself if I don't get married. I mean, our society is so harsh on the single mom, but then the single dad is lauded as this, this hero of the home, and he's not doing anything more than the woman does. I mean, that's benevolent sexism, I guess. I mean, that's just straight up sexism, really, but you don't get cookies for doing what you're supposed to do, but men do a lot of the time, because our society tells men that men apparently are told that they're not allowed to emote, and if they do, then they're weak, and women are told that we're too emotional, and that our emotions always get the best of us, which is really BS, because if you watch my videos, I stay very calm, clear-minded. Sometimes I trip over my words, but that's not because of emotion, that's because I have learning disabilities and it's tough, but I work through it and I work past it, because people are going to look down on me for being a woman already. I don't need more reasons for them to treat me as lesser. Yeah, I have a friend at WPI, and she's an engineering student, and I've mentioned her before, but she was telling me about one instance in class. She had done a project with a classmate. The classmate was a boy, a man, because we're in college, so we're adults. He's a man, and she's a woman, and they were working together, and they did the math for whatever the project was separately, step by step, and the man's answers were different than my friend's, and he assumed that because she's a woman, that she could not do math as well as he could, and told her that she was plain wrong. So, of course, she had the professor check their work, and it turned out that she was right. So, don't assume. Don't assume that we can't. Don't assume that we're less than you because we're women. Don't assume that we need the door held. Don't assume. Women are stronger than you'll ever know. And if you treat us like we're lesser, then that reflects on you. Chivalry needs to die. The end.